Mic check, mic check. Hey Jack. How you doing, mate? Can you hear me, Jack? Is everything good? Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Jack? And can you hear the music? Okay, nice. Fantastic. Sorry I'm a bit late, guys. I also didn't set up the streams until like literally past, so I just got home, but should be good. I'll wait for like a couple more. Once we get 10 people, I'll just start. We have quite a few people on Zooms as well, so. Izzy, you can't hear the music. Interesting. Yeah, some nice elevator music. I hope you all went to Don's stream today. It's quite rare he does a Sunday stream, right? Just kind of answering Q&A questions. So it was very valuable, right? Like a bunch of people got their questions in. It's just another session for anybody who has more questions and hasn't really gotten their answers, you know, from him, because obviously there were like a couple hundred people asking him at the same time. So is the market opening a 1 hour later today? Well, I don't know, but when the market opens, it will open. I can't take any trades until like at least 3 or 4 hours after the market open anyways, because you will need data. You need to see what the gap is, you need to see what everything is doing, right? So as it opens up, probably nothing for a while. But okay, let's get into it. Super quick analysis today. Monthly, right? We are still in this range, right? At any given point, the monthly hasn't made a decision yet, right? You've not broke the highs of the previous monthly. You've not really done much, but you've created a little bit of a bottom wick, right? Your weekly had a bottom wick, right? And then it's now closed, respecting this, right? Respecting 1989. Every single time respecting 1989, right? You actually don't have any time it's respecting 1989. So this is a level, right? Due to this fake out here. Any given point, you can start closing above 2007 and start ripping up towards this the all-time highs. So generally, I would say monthly, weekly is very bullish at the moment, right? The previous monthly closed so bullish, weekly's closed extremely bullish as well, and now bearish respecting. All right, so everything currently is aligning with our bullish bias. Let's go to the daily. Daily, I would say your overall range, you have something around here, and then your next range is somewhere around here. So for the daily to align, to be fully bullish and breaking out of the range, it'd be above 2006, right? But understanding that the daily currently is still in this range, but we closed bullish, leaving us with a pretty big top wick, right? So at any given point, we could fill that, right? What does the daily look like? The daily looks like we grabbed some level of liquidity down to these areas. So last time that happened, right, price was able to drive up to retest the highs at around 2060, 2066. So if you start getting breakouts above here on the daily, I'm pretty much like, I'll be very, very happy with buys, at least towards these sorts of areas, 2021 and 2030, right? But we're understanding that because we've already grabbed liquidity towards these sorts of areas, right? Any given point, it can start breaking out, and once it breaks out, you might get a small retest and start breaking above. So daily wise, I'm also very bullish. Let's go towards the 4 hour. Let's just mark up some ranges on the 4, right? So it's probably something around there. if we move this, I would say all the way down to these sorts of areas, and then you know you have another level down here, but that's cool. You also have something in between here, but like yeah, that's fine. So 2006, let's confirm this with what's happening in previous price, right? Say generally it's pretty strong. It's a pretty strong area. It's like anything between 2007 to 2006, right? I'm gonna put it here on the 4 hour, but you'll probably see on the 1 hour, it's like you'll have like another area towards 2009, 2010, and then you'll have another range probably at like 2006 on the hourly, right? So let's have a look at what the hourly is looking like, right? With the current price, 2007 is pretty strong, 0.318. What does that look like? Let's have a look. It's not bad in terms of a range, or the top of a range. I'm going to leave it at 2007, and I'm just going to draw this, which is the next top of the range for me, which is towards 2012. So I'm understanding that every time we broke 2012, right? We also tapped into these areas for liquidity, right? 1970. So once you get a closure above 2012, or even a closure above 2007, once that happened, you broke above, right? You broke above and you tapped 2019. So this range, that's 120 pips, right? Even the range above 2012, that's about 70 pips towards your next support, which is these sorts of areas, right? So I'm understanding that every time you close above here, tapped, right? Close back a bit, tapped, right? Tapped every single time. This one you didn't get a closure above, you didn't tap, right? These ones you got a closure above, tapped, tapped, this tapped, right? Every single time you tapped that you got a closure above 2012, right? Now let's look at 2007, right? 2007 you came up, you basically tapped 2012, you tapped here, even you didn't close above on the hourly, but you probably closed on like the 15 or whatever, right? This one also tapped, so which is why I'm understanding we've already grabbed liquidity towards these areas. So any given point when you get a closure above here, the daily, 4 hour, weekly, monthly, and the hourly have all lined up to be bullish, right? You've closed above current, most recent highs, right? All of this, get a closure above, you're pretty good to start driving up, right? Any time frame that starts from the hourly, you're pretty much good. But how can we get those buys towards 2007, right? If we're expecting a breakout and a continuation of the kind of bullish structure, right? So looking at price currently, right, I would say you're struggling in this range, right? Something around here. You could say it's like just about these levels. So you haven't closed below, so you are still closing above on the hourly, right? Any given point though, right, price could start coming down, right? You created this high, but you didn't grab much liquidity before you created the high, so you came back down. You obviously rejected, but you started trickling down, right? So it's indicating that it doesn't have enough liquidity to go up. So what you're likely to see, right, is probably something to be grabbed towards these sorts of areas, right? Breaking all of these lows, maybe something towards these sorts of areas here, right? Understanding you had another level towards these areas, right? And once you closed above all these areas, right, you are expecting a range fill towards 2007 at least. So you still have a little bit of range to go. And that's probably on the 4 hour and the daily, right? So as we come back down, right, we're probably going to create a daily bottom wick, depending on how the gap opens, right? But you're likely going to get a bottom wick for the daily. So what the daily is going to look like is you're in this range, right? So the daily range is between 1981 and 2007. Your daily, if it comes down, breaks the previous daily low, then flips, you're pretty good for a wick fill to come up, right? And what is that going to look like on the 4 hour? It's going to be, you know, you might have closed back into this range on the 4. I would say you probably haven't though. So at any given point, you're expecting a bearish, you know, in the short term, 4 hour to be bearish because it's closing back into this range, right? And as that happens, let's just check if 1992 is a strong area. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, look at all of these, right? You have a pretty strong support towards 1992. So at any given point, right, you've closed below, respecting. So you're going to come down to fill this range, and that's just going to be the daily bottom wick, the weekly bottom wick, right? And as that happens, right, we can look to take the flip to start going up, right? We understand that on the lower time frames, this like 4 hours is a lower time frame compared to the daily and the weekly, right? But even on the 30 and the 15, This is just going to be a range fill coming down towards these areas, 1982 sorts of areas. Whereabouts am I looking for liquidity to be grabbed? Let's have a look. So we're currently at 1992. We've closed bearish, right? Similar to these, we've grabbed liquidity towards these areas. We didn't push, we closed bearish, respecting any given point. You're probably looking for either of these levels to get tapped, 82 or 76. Just wondering if you can get 82 first, because I'm looking at this, right? Looking at these. So any given point, 82 is not too bad of a position, but I'll need structure to be forward on 82, and 76, if you get down to there, I'm looking for buys, because we've closed bullish, right? Understanding that our overall structure is bullish. If you're looking for a buy towards these areas, right, there's a high chance it's going to reject anyway, similar to all of these times, right? Even this was a fake out, right? 76 is pretty strong. It's 76.9, so around 77, right? But understanding that once you tap into these, you've broken all of this. We're expecting it to come down, right? First, ideally, for the daily, so that when it flips, right, it's going to fill this next range, 2007, and depending on how far it's tapped into these areas, right, it might get a breakout, and then you might see a drive towards 2012, and then eventually 2018. Just having a look here. So last time you came up after this and you already filled 2007. So when were the last times you didn't fill 2007? So looking at these, right? You tapped into these areas, you didn't fill up to 2007, you got rejected towards these sorts of areas, so you grabbed liquidity towards 76. Yeah. So I'm looking for buys wicks here based on current structure. If structure changes, right, as it will, you know, through Asian and London, that I'm not trading, right? But as structure changes, this analysis will also change. If it fills up to 2007 first, before tapping this, it doesn't mean I'm going to be taking a sell to come down to 1976, right? Because overall, we've already tapped into this area, 1970, right? So at any given point, it has enough liquidity to first fill the range and also break out, right? You grab liquidity at 76 and at 70 before you're able to break out, and this is your lowest point in liquidity. So now that it's tapped there, I'm expecting it to break out, right? So that's why I'm not taking the sells at 2007, right? But we're still in the range. We're still in the range between 2007 and 1982 towards 1976. So there's not too much you can do. Like you can play the 4 hour, the hourly, but you can't really play the higher time frame ranges because you're expecting the higher time frame to do something, right? You're expecting a push, expecting some sort of drive, but you just haven't gotten that yet. So just trying to see if this level's any higher. If you're closing there, yeah, we're expecting it to come down, right? On the lower time frame, let's have a look. Close respecting all of this, there's a high chance you could drive up, but even if it drives up, looking at structure, right, like you created a high, came down, you didn't re-break those highs, and you started creating lower highs, right? Any given point, once it creates this, like if it comes down, short term it's going to come down first, and that's in line with everything we're looking for. Just looking at how we can get sells to come down. I'm expecting sells maybe towards around these areas, guys. I'm gonna move this down ever so slightly towards exactly here. So I'm looking for sells here based on current structure. Actually, no, not based on current structure. I'm gonna need a breakout below here, I would say. If it closes below 1990, right, I'm looking at these times, I'm looking at these being not able to close above below 1990, looking at these, you know, respecting 1990, probably even down below this, because I'm understanding, look, it closed below, didn't drive, right? So probably looking for something around here. If it closes below here, I'll look for price to come down to fill the range, and your next range down is going to be at least towards 1985, so that's about 30 pips. So if you get a closure below 88.92, 97. Then you create a top wick here. I'm looking for sales to come down, right? Understanding that we're expecting that bottom wick first, right? Maybe in 10 minutes or whenever the market's open, we're going to see a massive gap, and it's going to be completely useless. But as of current price structure, if you get a breakout below here, I'm expecting top wick and then to come down, right? Because you've closed. Let me get my annotations up. So, right, you've got a closure below based on current price. If it breaks all these highs first, I can't get into a wick entry, right? I'll have to take the flip, right? But if it doesn't, right, and then your next candle comes up, creates this, and then flips, I'm going to be looking for the range fill to come down, right? So exactly this. And then if this happens, right, if you get, you get a closure like this or whatever, and then your next candle like creates a top wick already, and then you get something like this, all right, and then you get a small breakout below, I'll be looking just for off the rip to come down. Basically because you've already grabbed the liquidity, all right? So once you've grabbed the liquidity, I'm not expecting price to come all the way back up to grab it, right? I'm just expecting a drive to come down towards 1976. Obviously that's a stretch goal, but I'm expecting 1976 to get tapped eventually this week, I would say, hopefully. If not, if you just see a breakout of 2007, then that's just a daily push, right? And that's what we broke down, right? So if you just get a breakout above 2007, then you're just looking at these, right? This breakout here going straight up to about 2019, and then you might continue towards the all-time highs. But if you are continuing to struggle within this range, right, you're coming down, you're potentially breaking some of these lows, I'd like it to respect here on the daily still at 1981. If it does and then comes down for a second bottom wick towards these areas, I'm more likely to look for buys at 76 to start going up. But I hope that makes sense. That's basically the breakdown for today. It's relatively simple. Obviously, if you get a 2007 breakout, I'm in buys, right? And then sells below, I would say I don't really have sells below currently. Like if you break below this wick here, it's probably pretty clean traffic to come down to 64. So probably a sell below 69, but we're really far away, so I'm not going to mark that up currently because it makes sense now, but you're a little bit too far away and you're going to see a lot of structure get printed before you get there anyways. So just wait for that to happen, guys. But we might see a massive gap, so who knows? Alright, I'm going to let some of the Zoom boys out. Welcome back, guys.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, good thanks, good thanks. Let me just turn you guys up a little bit.
Hello.
You guys doing alright?
Yes, thank you.
Nice. Any questions? I know, were you guys on the Don's live stream today?
No, I think we're gonna watch that back tomorrow.
Okay, I think in general there was a lot of like, I think there was a little bit on wick entries that was quite useful. And then there's probably some psychology stuff, but in general I feel like because it was more chat based initially, the quality of questions were like more beginner level.
Yeah.
But he did towards the end answer like Don Juan's question and like Kato's question. They were more targeted and specific. So if you guys are struggling with like understanding wick entries or whatever, then that's probably worth just kind of skimming over at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But no questions from you guys, or is there anything that you guys are not understanding? You guys like to go through?
I have a question.
Yep.
Elvis.
Go for it.
My question is when you go for breakup entry, how you just like do you always think at the second time, oh, I need now a liquidity grab. You don't go like for the tap on the range and then go down. Do you know what I mean?
So basically, if you get a breakout, let's say you get a breakout above 2007 now, am I looking for liquidity?
No. I get it. You know, I know what you mean with that. But the break up below, you know, when
Breakout
when the
below.
yeah below 88, I think, when you said that
Yeah.
I
So
need
when we
like
get a breakout below here, am I looking for
yeah
liquidity?
yeah
Yeah. So I'm
why
expecting. Yeah.
why do you need a tab at 1997? Why not like just 92? You know what I mean?
Why not just a 92, right? Okay, so you're I mean it could reject a 92, right? Once you get a closure below these areas, you could tap into these areas, right? And then start rejecting to come down because this is the top of your range. But I'm looking mainly for here because I'm understanding that these don't have top wicks, right? And then once it's in this range, right, the 5 minute is probably going to look to fill this entire range. So once you fill this range, the higher time frame will just be a wick going up, right? And then we might see it come down. I'm expecting at least 92 to get tapped, right? And if it does, right, I'll be looking for the flip anyways to come down. But for wick entries, it will have to be about 97.
Okay.
Yeah, so for
I
example, yeah.
yeah. I'm still really confused about those weak entries because I still cannot really determine, which areas. Because right now, if I go for a breakup, I just think like retest of the range and then go for a like a break of the high of the candle or flip.
Yeah, so
But
those are multiple things that I'm looking out for. So for example, right, let's say you get a closure below here,
yeah,
right? You get a closure below here. What does price currently look like, right? You haven't broken any of these lows, you haven't broken any of these highs. What are you looking for?
I feel like can you explain to me when like I when time um, price grabbed some liquidity. You know, does it need to do it right now? You know what I mean? Or when it did it in the past, is it enough liquidity to go down? Or you know what I mean?
Okay, so like for example this, right? This is liquidity,
Yes.
right? You showed that you were going up, right? And then you came down, you didn't break these lows. You came down, right? You grabbed liquidity actually kind of twice. So you were bullish, right, for the short term, like I'm on the 30-minute right now, right? So you were bullish. You came down, you respected these lows, right? You continue to respect for multiple candles, showing that okay, cool, this is a strong level of support. You suddenly broke below, and then I'm understanding that because we were bullish previously, this is more likely to be a fake out and a liquidity grab for us to drive above this point,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
with this current structure, right? If I get a breakout, let me use this. If I get a breakout below here, I'm worried that the next candle, because we're bullish, right? I'm worried that the next candle is going to do something like this.
Because previously you see like there is much of respecting candles and then you know
Because
what
I'm
I mean?
because I'm worried that like, cool, I understand that this is a level, right? This is some sort of level, on the 30 you have some wicks here, you have some rejections here, right? Cool. So if you close below, I can't just take something off the rip to come down because we're bullish, number one. Number two, right? If you do take the flip to come down, right? What is your next range that you're going to fill? Probably down to these sorts of areas, right? I would
Mm-hmm.
say. So if oops. Yeah, so if that's where I'm looking to tap into, right? And you get a breakout below there, I'm expecting, top wicks, at certain areas before you're able to drive down to these areas, right? You close below here, like these wicks or whatever, right? You close and you fill down to here, but you don't come down continuously, right? So if you get top wicks towards these areas, it's not enough for me, right? If you get top wicks towards these areas, maybe, right? But that's why I'm worried, right? If I do get a sell towards 92, I'm still worried because it's any given point it could flip up and start re-breaking the highs because we broke down that the dailies tap 1970, so any given point it could break above 2007. So this is a best case scenario for me. Like if I'm taking a sell, like I would expect price to do something like this, right? If it's faking out even, right? So it was a wrong idea, came up, right? I'm expecting to tap here, have some sort of rejection before being able to continue up, right? So I'm gonna be, this is one option that I can get out of, right? And then the second option is if it does come down, right? You can break down and it just comes here immediately, right? I'm expecting some sort of pull out like this, right? Some you know continuation of sells for the short term before it wants to go up, but I'm expecting this to come down, right? And then that's kind of mirroring this. But the main thing is, I would say, I can't get any sells at 92 if you get a breakout below 88 currently, because you've just kind of started ripping up all of these highs. So the confirmation here is that, okay, you've broken below most recent lows, right? Overall structure though, I don't think you've broken, right? If you look at the higher time frames, like this is very much a 30-minute, 15-minute trade. If you look at the higher time frame, right? Like if you look at the 4 hour, everything is bullish, right? Even if you close below here, what's to say this is not going to be a fake out to come up, right? You have no bottom wick, so I'm expecting a candle to come down, right? But I'm not expecting this to fill because this previous 4 hour closed respecting the last 4 hour, like the last 4 hours top of the range. So at any given point, it could just create a steeper bottom wick and then flip up and continue up. So that's why I needed that one extra confirmation, which is when it closes below, right, on like the 30-minute or whatever, and then it comes up to here, I'm looking to take a small piece of it, right? Probably only down to like 93 max, I would say. I'd probably get out there. But if I don't get these, right, and then I get the flip, right, I'll be looking for the flip at 86 to come down to 82. So those are my two options, right? Either I'm trading this range, or I'm trading, like say I got a breakout below here, right? I'm trading like towards this range.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
It's a little bit more complex now, and also like, I guess the markets are going to open a little bit later, but yeah, like, I was thinking about how Don was explaining it. How I would explain it
I
is,
think
yeah,
did not Don said in on the stream everything is easy, but determine where the top will be is the hard part.
yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, we did.
Then okay.
Oh, we just closed. Oh, we got a daily. Oh, we have no gap. That's very interesting. So the daily, I would say you also maybe have like a minor resistance around here. But generally, I'm bullish and I'm expecting it to tap the top of the range, which is 2007. So the analysis still stands. I would still say it's okay. Yeah, I would say, yeah, Izzy, the top wick or bottom wick areas is the hardest because you're not only understanding, okay, what happened in the past, you're also understanding market structure. So, for example, you get a tap above here, right? But you're respecting here. So it's probably difficult to get into any buys or any sells at the moment, right? Because you're respecting on the 4 hour. So if you're looking at the 1 hour, then it maybe makes sense. But then how many time frames are you looking for confirmation, right? I'm expecting this to be relatively, like, I'll expect a bottom wick, right, for the daily. And it's currently creating a bottom wick first, which is a good thing because generally we're bullish. So if it flips, we're expecting it to break the highs. But I don't know how far down it's going to come. So if we get a breakout on the 4 hour, on the 1 hour, or whatever below 88, or like, you know, maybe below these sorts of areas on the higher time frame, I'll be looking for wick entries to come down. But that's only after you break certain structure, right? The 4 hour, like, where is the next structure? Don Juan was asking this today. The next structure break is probably below 76, but you've closed all the way above, like these areas now. So at any given point, when you tap 76 and we analyze and are looking left, there's a high chance you're just going to start re-breaking the highs, right? Because that's enough liquidity for us to go up. But let's say on the hourly, what is the area you need to break for us to kind of confirm that we're coming down, right? Is it like these sorts of areas, right? This is a little bit messy. This is a range here. Is it down at these sorts of areas at 90 to 80? Or is it also down to here, right? So the hourly is kind of messy as well, right? You could get a closure below this area, but what's to say that this is also not just going to be a fake out to come up? 30 is a similar position. And then when you get to like the smaller time frames, then it's like, cool, like my 5 minute currently is very, very bearish, right? Like, because, you know, you had this massive thing and then this could be a liquidity grab for us to continue breaking these lows. And I would say on my 5 minute, once I break these lows, potentially like this low here, I've got pretty clean traffic to come down, right? Look at this. Like, what is this in terms of pips? Say like you broke out below here, next range down. That's 17 pips on the 5 minute. So that's like different kind of levels. Like, yeah, we're coming down currently. I'm expecting at least, right, on the short term, you're gonna get some liquidity grabs towards around like, I want it above here, right? But I'm expecting that. Why? Because of these. If you fill this entire range first before tapping this, right, then maybe you get a breakout and then you get a top wick towards 92, maybe towards these sorts of areas. But I'm still expecting, something around these areas to get tapped first. $30 also no top wick. We closed. Let's have a look where we closed on the 15. Did we close bullish? Did we close bullish above here? Yeah, if this 15 flips, you might see it like, if you look at this, right, you have some sort of support here, resistance here, right? If this 15 flips, you probably can expect this to get tapped, right? 11 pips. All right, next range up. If this flips, that is, right? But I'm understanding that the daily's just opened up, 4 hours just opened up, hourly's just opened up. So if I take a trade here, the 15, is it aligned with the 30? Right? 30's, closing respecting, maybe it's aligned with 30. Is it aligned with the hourly? Right? You close respecting, maybe it's aligned with the hourly to go up, right? 4 hour, is it in line? Suddenly it's not, because your 4 hour closed below. Is it aligned with the daily? Right? Daily bottom wick, how steep is this bottom wick going to be? Right? This is a 10 pip bottom wick. Is that what we usually see for a daily? No. So suddenly you get slightly mixed time frames. So just make sure all your time frames align. Any other questions from anyone or anything that you guys want to understand? What I'm building currently, I'll give you guys like a sneak peek. So basically I'm trying to separate what stages people are at with kind of trading. So I've got stage 0 all the way to like, stage A, which is, I would say, full profitability. And then there's 10 stages in between, which are like, like there's quite a lot of detail into this currently, but like how like monetary wise, how many accounts have you blown, what are your kind of thoughts going through these different stages, like how psychologically difficult it is. I'm giving it like a scoring. I would say stage 4 is the hardest stage to get past. If you do, you're pretty smooth sailing from then on, stuff like that. So that's what the members are going to get in the future, and like kind of actionable steps to take you guys to the next stage.
I have a couple.
Yeah.
Things. So this open, you were surprised that it wasn't too much of a like slip between the two.
Yeah.
I would have said less surprised because there's a lot less people on like long positions now. Last couple of weeks in the openings, there's been people on long positions cashing out. It's my understanding of it.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm not.
There's a lot less people on like longs on gold now because we've gone up so much and we're starting ranging so much. People have been dumping their positions.
Fair.
Probably from down in the 1800s. I'd imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
If someone got that, wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
I would say I was only expecting it because I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but the previous weeks and days, right, when we think like towards these sorts of areas, we just closed and then massive gap, right? I think there was a massive gap towards these areas already. So I was expecting some gap, but I was surprised there was no gap. Even if it was like a 10 pip, 20 pip gap, but fair enough, right? We just react to price.
Yeah. And then the other thing is, you've moved your 1992 line a bit now, but yeah, because we respected that and sort of half expected. Yeah, I'm extremely bullish.
Yeah, I would say I'm still very bullish.
Like you.
Yeah, like I mean, it's just on the daily.
I'm assuming
right?
we'll just be seeing some sort of drive up because
Yeah.
we've been stuck on 1992 for so long.
Yeah.
To actually break through it, yeah.
The only thing I'm slightly worried about is like I don't know if this is 76 is going to be enough liquidity to come all the way up, because you've already tapped into the 76 into like 70 multiple times, but you haven't driven up all the way. You didn't even close above or fill the range here. So I'm wondering where price is looking to grab liquidity, and then looking left, I'm worried it's down to these sorts of areas, right? Like
Yeah, on the other two, like weekly daily.
yeah, because like even with these ones, you tapped into these areas, right? So
Yeah.
and then you came back down to these areas to grab liquidity. So you might be seeing some very steep liquidity grabs coming up, but in the short term, right, we're gonna get there slowly. So whatever happens, I'm still currently I'm still looking for buys here, especially with the daily no top wick, right? I'm still looking for like something like that, and I'll probably get out towards it anyways. And if it comes down, right, then we'll look for more positions, potentially breakouts as it starts going back up. But yeah, like if this breaks, I'm half expecting this to get tapped, like towards 51, 53.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're like stacking positions like crazy.
Yeah, if it comes down to here, man, it's gonna be insane. Because you've broken these lows, you've broken these lows. You've like every time you tap these, like probably I would say your level is likely around like 50, 51, 52. Once you get there, man, Jesus, we're just gonna be. Yeah, it should be a good position, but like that might be a swing position even when we get down to there. But obviously, if we had like a monthly confirmation of like a breakout above, and then we started like retesting those, oh, we'd be in. But the weeklies had a pretty good closure, I would say. It's like the best you could have probably hoped for.
Yeah, I'm respecting for the liquidity.
Yeah, and it also these don't really have top wicks, so if you do want to come down anyways, you're going to tap around these areas, right? Look at all this, right? You tapped into these sorts of areas like at least 2050 before you were able to come down. Like this one, you tapped into those areas, you came down, you were bearish towards 19. Sorry, like what was this 1900s, 1800s sorts of areas. Yeah, 1905 sorts of areas, right? And then you came back all the way up to 1999 before coming down, right? So we're tapping into these areas. Like I would say 2031 you should probably see. Like I would pretty much guarantee it eventually. I just don't know when. So
Yeah, and then one of the questions, like, how many accounts have you blown?
how many accounts have I blown? I've blown quite a few. So I started off with one account which was, I think I put like 2.5K in, because I was like, oh okay, like this is a paycheck, like I can live with one month without paycheck. It should be okay. And I just chucked it in, and I think like I traded for 3 days, and I was like not really profitable or anything, but I was using a different strategy at that time. It was more swinging, and then like I was like up a little bit, and then I was losing a little bit, but then like because I would be holding trades for like days, right? Like throughout the night, I'd be checking my phone so often. Um, and then eventually I just kind of realized, no, okay, it wasn't for me. And then using that strategy, I kind of blew like 3 accounts, like 3 bigger accounts. Like I would say like upwards of, just like the $100 accounts. I think I've lost about 3.5K with that. And then now I have, after that I kind of stopped. I kind of just realized, okay, needed something to change. So I then opened up a $100 account which I haven't blown, and then I also opened up a $1,000 account which I haven't blown. And then that's kind of it. Like 3 accounts, but over like a long period of time.
Yeah, okay. And I guess then what stage on your
Yeah, what stage am I at?
little graph? Yeah. What
Yeah,
you
so I would
consider
say
yourself?
I'm like stage 7.5. So here is net profitable is like this is where like I think I'll need to ask Don in terms of like what he thinks. But I'm very confident up to stage 7 that this is basically the correct, like not correct stages for everyone, right? But generally these are pretty good stages, I would say. Like, like kind of an overview, right? Like this is somebody who's never traded, right? Hasn't downloaded MT5. This is somebody who has some level of understanding of what lot sizes are, what pips are, like how to make money on MT5 and trading. This is somebody who's like experienced like a couple different types of strategies, but they don't really know what they're looking for, and also subconsciously there's a huge issue with they don't understand what they don't understand. And then stage 3 is when they're actually starting, right? They understand that they need a strategy, they need to take a step back to understand certain things, and then they're feeling slightly more confident. And stage 4 is when they're like, oh shit, I've then blown another big account, or like I've lost a lot of money, or like the strategy that they're trading, suddenly they just feel really shit about it, and like it doesn't seem like it's working. And then stage 4 to 5 is the most difficult progression, where stage 5 you kind of get out of this hole, and then you understand, okay, I actually know nothing, right? You accept that, and then you are actually trying to improve as a trader instead of making money. So this is a huge gap. And then after that, I would say it's more smooth sailing. Like occasionally, this is a bit of a loop as well. Like you occasionally will relapse, not towards stage 4, but like bits of stage 4, right? So it's a bit of a loop. But once you get to stage 6, it's like even if you loop, the larger momentum is towards being profitable, and you're generally on the right path.
I think I'm on like stage 4 or 5.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? Like everyone is on a different stage, and then I put like things that you might think about. Stage 4 is like the strategy is shit. I've done everything I can. Like fuck this. I can't take it. Like the next loss I take has like next trade I take has to have no drawdown, right? I can't accept drawdown, right? Shit like that, right? And then once you kind of move away from that, it's like, okay, I need to focus on win rate, not money, stuff like that. It's like this is a loop. This is a
Since
huge
we're on
loop.
this topic, Ellis, I actually had like a question about. So I deposited just 2K, right?
Yeah.
And I was gonna risk 0.02, which was 1%. And then on Friday's stream, I seen Don was risking 10% on his 1K balance. So I kind of like had FOMO and like switched my lot size, but I don't think that's realistically doing anything for me, right?
No, yeah, because think about it, right? You're 2K, right? Even if you up your lot size, you're not making that much money, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a difference from like a couple dollars to like $20, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, you are making a little bit more money, but it's not substantial enough that it would justify upping your lot size.
And
It's
then all
just,
I'm
yeah,
doing in that sense is just focusing still on the money. I'm not even
exactly,
when like you said, it's not even substantial, so it's pointless in doing that.
exactly.
But subconsciously, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's why like stage 4 or 5, it takes a lot to get out of, and I'm trying to like detail like key actions, right? I'm starting to write these out. But like key actions to get out of those stages, right? The things you're struggling with, the estimated time at the stage, emotions, and all of that. So hopefully I'll have this out. It's going to be again a free thing for DVS eventually, but I wanted to help members essentially from Evolution DVS to kind of evaluate what stage you're at, right? Just be completely honest with yourselves, right? I'm honest with myself, and like I struggled a lot to get from stage 4 to 5, right? I struggled a lot, but not because like I was trying to make money, so that was one thing I was good at, right? But I was struggling a lot because I didn't understand that the strategy was actually going to be profitable. I keep thinking that my own trading can work, right? And I keep, risking the same amount on my own trades, but I don't have a good enough knowledge and like, understanding of what the actual strategy is. So the quality of my trading is just shit. But I'm taking those
Mm-hmm.
setups every single time because it's an ego thing. I feel like, oh, like I surely I understand a little bit, right? And then I'll take the trade. I'll take a loss, all right? And then the next time it's like, surely, like, I've learned from that loss, right? Have I though? Have I actually learned from that loss? Like, what have I learned, right? And then, like, after that, this is why I built this journal. This is a massive part of why I built this journal. Because this forced me to understand exactly what I was looking for in every single trade setup. And then after that, I'm able to, if I get into a trade and then it's like a shit idea, right? Um, like, where is it? like one of these is like over trading or wrong idea, right? It's just like I'm identifying that, like even like not even that long ago, like I was saying about the relapse stuff. You know, sometimes it's like the wrong idea. So like here, wrong idea, right? Uh, but like generally, you can like over trading here, right? When was this? This was a relapse back in like early October, right? But there's only one of them because I'm understanding that okay, cool. I'm like, you know, things are getting better, right? And then yeah, generally that's just kind of how you progress. So that's what I'm gonna hopefully have for you guys. I don't know when, because it's gonna be a big thing. Like I want to put a lot of effort into it. So I mean, if you
Yeah,
do, you guys think
I
it's
don't think I've
useful?
ever seen anything like that before.
Yeah,
No,
that would definitely be useful.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
like I don't think anything exists that's like even remotely similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the like I can write all of this information out, but it's like that's not useful. The useful part is like firstly being able to accurately identify where you are, and then the second part of that is what do you now do to get yourself out of that stage. And I think that's where like you know I'll get Don's input, which is why it's still a DVS tool because Don's still the master, right? Like he knows everything. So and he's been through
I feel
all of
like
this.
a lot too. What you should hear a lot of new traders say, they would just be able to refer to that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like when they have a question, and then because I feel like I hear that a lot. Like when you can tell too, like where someone's at in their stage just by listening to them talk. I feel like.
yeah, for sure, 100%. But I think like that's one thing that you need to like bear in mind, which is you have to be very honest with yourself when it comes to trading. Like that's why Wix always says, right? Like you have to know yourself. Trading forces you to understand yourself. Because if you don't, you're gonna be stuck. And like it's not even you're not even stuck at like there's two loops, right? The first loop I would say is going from headless chicken to actual first steps. It's a huge loop because firstly, like in this loop, you're just doing whatever you think is profitable, but you don't have no strategy or anything, right? You have no direction, but you're just trying to make money. You know, you think like, yeah, you know, people can make money off of this, so can I, right? You think you're better than people because that's like to some extent, it's just ego, right? You come into the markets thinking, okay, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And then you get stuck there for quite a while, and then once you break out of this, and then you get into this loop, this is like I put down here the scoring for emotions, right? It's fucking bad. Like this one's 4 out of 10. Like you start off 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10, right? You get to 4 out of 10, you're like quite down. You recover a little bit, and you get hit in the head again, right? But then that's where like most traders I would say exit. They just kind of leave the markets. But if you can push through, things are going up. Yeah.
Can I ask you some question about this journal? What you did? Can you go back?
For this journal,
I feel like when I'm really honest, I no the other one. You know there where
this one,
yeah right there. Can you? I feel like I'm on the headless chicken part.
yeah,
I don't know really what to do, but I feel like I'm getting on my on my road. You know, I feel
yeah.
like I'm
Okay,
trying to.
so you're in
It's good
between.
that you're honest with yourself.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
first thing I would
because
say. That's
I
you're
feel
very
like
honest, right? That's good.
it's like this ego thing that you said. Like
Yeah,
you make yourself think you are something special. I don't know what I mean, but I feel like I could make millions, but to be honest, I'm kind of lost. You know.
yeah. So you I would say
Yeah.
you're in between, right? Like you know you just mentioned certain things, right? Like you know I'm gonna be profitable the next XX time. I'm gonna make this money back, right? Like oh like I'm already following what everybody's doing. Why is this not profitable, right? It's all of this stuff. But I would say what I understood here is like what did I write here? Yeah. So I think you're actually past this stage. Like by the questions you're asking, right? The questions you're asking me every single day, I would say you're past this stage. I would say you're closer to here, which is a good thing, right? This is a slightly difficult stage to get past, but you just have to trust yourself that this is the way and this is the correct path for now, right? You're gonna
I
hit
feel like
more.
I trust in the I feel like I have like my trust in Dom, you know. I watch his streams. I feel like it's like you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just have like trust in him and then I just you know
yeah. I think so. So what do you think is the main thing you're struggling with right now?
I feel like right now get this. I everybody talks about trying not to care about the money thing, just about the skill. And right now I really want just to focus on the skill, not about the money, because I just about the last 3 weeks, the only thing in my head was how can I make with this strategy money? How can I get my first payout from
Yeah.
my funded account? And only that, but not never the how can I get the skill? How I can learn it? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say like you understand what you're struggling with, right? Which is a very good thing. So I would say you're not here. You're not headless. You understand what you're struggling with, right? I would say you're pretty like strongly in this stage. I would say the main thing you want to work on, right, is just patience, right? Maybe I don't know what your money situation is in your life, like if you have a job or if you're trading full time, right? So those all of these things will contribute to your relationship with money, right? And I think Don mentions this quite a lot as well. Like if you are struggling for money and then you come to trading looking for the money, you're not going to make any money, right? Because you're impatient. You're looking like, oh, okay, you're expecting the markets to give you money, right? Through a strategy which you've experienced for a couple months, maybe even a year, but you think that because you follow the strategy, it's going to work out, but no, right? The strategy has a lot of components to it. Like I would say the strategy is one thing to understand, but you need to have your own perceptions of the markets as well. So what I'm trying to provide with for you guys with all of these analysis and whatever is like every time you ask a question, I try to understand what you're looking for and like how you understand the markets. And then after that, I try to think about, okay, from your point of view, how does it look? Right? And then that's one thing you need to work on as well, which is in terms of my analysis and Don's analysis, you don't have to agree with all of it, right? You need to make something that agrees with what you think. And then after that, right, that's one thing you need to work on. And the second thing you need to work on is somehow you need to you have to separate money and wins, or like, coming to the markets with a strategy expecting to win. You need to break out of that loop. And I'm currently trying to work on with Don as well, like how can we effectively get people to break out of this loop? Because from past experience and like just people talking to us, right, all of it is just people blowing accounts over and over and over again until they realize what I'm doing now is just not good enough, right? And then at that point they're like, okay, I'll now focus on winning and whatever. But that's the kind of learning curve that is difficult. I don't think there is a shortcut to it, honestly. Like it is a very steep learning curve. It's
I feel
just
like you have like to find yourself. I feel like I I was like in the stage for the past 3 weeks. I put money, I lost money, I lost, and in my head I was saying that I will make more money, but right now I understood I lost it. I didn't knew what I did, and now everybody said to me just do it on a demo. Why not? And then I was like, why on a demo? Why should I? And I feel like if you wanna really learn the skill and not just caring about the money, it's like a good thing, you know.
yeah. Okay, so there's multiple ways you can tackle this. So I would say, actually, one question to ask you: do you have Dawn signals?
No, no.
You don't have Dawn signals. Okay. Do you have any signals?
I just watch the streams.
You just watch streams, but you trade with Dawn stream, right?
I sometimes, I go with Janice on and with him, or I just watch the stream.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I try. Right now, I'm mainly just to learn, not to
Okay.
make it.
So something I want to ask is, for example, right? You know when Dawn was in this trade at 1976? Were you in this trade?
Yeah,
Did you wait all the way when he closed and then you closed, or did you close before?
I had to close before.
You had to.
Yeah, I did a dumb mistake, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
I
So
I feel yeah.
yeah. So that's the first thing I would say, right? If okay, so there's two things I wanted to evaluate there, right? Number one is if you had the balls, right, and the confidence in Don to hold this trade all the way till when he says to close it, and I think you do. But the one issue that you're dealing with is potentially over leveraging, right, or going over. Like you don't expect that it was going to go in this much drawdown.
When I hold it, I hold it.
Yeah, yeah. I would say
But
you are expecting
I
to
have
hold.
to trust, like when Don didn't trust, I didn't trust. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hold it,
Okay.
it came back to break even, and then it go further up, and then I said, no, I can't. Then I would lose my account, and then I said, yeah, I would close. And then I closed.
Okay. So you were trading with too much. Your lot size was too big, right?
Yeah,
Okay, so that's the first thing I would say you need to work on, right? So Don risks around a little bit more because he's on a live account, right? I don't know what your situation is, but risk a lower amount and just take Don's trades on that account, which is like 2K or whatever it is, right? I would open a separate account, $100 live, all right? And that account, you just trade 0.01 or 0.02. And that trade account is only for you to test your theories, right? Because if you lose 100 pips on that account, that's $10,
yeah,
right? So that's like the worst case scenario, right? At that point, you can start thinking about, okay, so these are my concepts, these are my trades. How are they playing out, right? You're understanding that, you're controlling risk that way, and then slowly you might not realize this, but as you're trading the $100 account, you're thinking, okay, shit, making $1 is hard. And that's when you'll understand that, like, making money on the charts is very, very difficult. So that's why you don't want to overtrade. You don't know, sorry, not you don't want to over leverage, because if you over leverage and it goes against you, you're losing a lot of money really quickly.
yeah,
If you're on a $100 account like I was, right, you make $10, you've made 100 pips. That's a lot of like wins to get you there, and then you'll feel good about yourself, and then you'll be in a kind of a positive cycle. So I would say separate, like, if you, because I know you want money, right? And everybody here wants money, but separate the making money aspect with your own aspect. So make money with Don, right? You're able to hold his trades, then hold his trades with the correct leverage and the correct lot size and everything for your account. And that will make you money because he's profitable. So if you hold and everything, you're fine, right? On the other side, for your own development, open $100 account, and in that account you just trade your own stuff.
yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
Yeah. I would try that for like at least 3-4 months, right? If you see improvement during that time, then yeah, we can reevaluate, right? But this is what I want. Like once you kind of have a little bit more updates, right? I'll go through with you in terms of what's going on, like what stage you feel like you're at, and then we can reevaluate and then see what you need to do next. But yeah, that's it's pretty positive that you're able to do that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It's good. I think Mandor, you can't see this sheet because it's not a DVS publicly available thing yet. It's an Evolution DVS thing, which I'll be releasing to my members sometime, but um, it's still in development, so you can't see it yet. The overall journal is available though, so like the actual trading journal part of it, so the actual TBJ.
Elvis,
So
for the journal for the trade on Friday, for expected outcome, would it be flip plus drop?
is this the
Friday trade,
the Don's trade,
the
right?
breakout. Yeah.
Don's trade, I think I took a couple break evens after that, but here's this one. So expected I put was flip and drive for the hourly.
But cool, I got the same thing.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
And then for the first partial closure, what'd you put for the reason?
I didn't close. I did I close partials? I don't know. I think I just closed full. I think at 17.
Hmm.
But I think the reason was basically,
It hit a resistance there.
yeah. I think you hit
Right.
these sorts of areas. Forgot what it looked like exactly. I think we got in on this bottom wick, this wick, right? And then we hit like we flipped, and then I think it was like these sorts of areas, like maybe towards these areas.
There's a level of like 2000. So
Yeah, right here. This is where I would have exited anyways, right? So you see these wicks, these top of the ranges, right? So
Yeah.
once you
What's the
hit that,
difference between minor resistance and minor rejection?
so those are things you can kind of like that made sense to me. So minor resistance for me is like, okay, looking left, that's a level, right? Minor
Uh-huh.
rejection to me is when I'm in like, for example, I'm in profits, right? And then suddenly I get, okay, I see that it's tapped to the top of the range. It doesn't look like it wants to go up, and it's closing, coming down, potentially even a breakout below the next range. I'm worried that, right, that it might come down. So then that's the minor rejection.
But wouldn't that be the same thing as minor resistance if you're looking?
So, for example, right, in that trade, so the minor resistance would be at 2000, right? The minor
Uh-huh.
rejection is when this next candle started closing, towards 2000. Maybe if this next candle closed below, I'd look to exit because that's some level of rejection.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So that's how I separated them.
So I would put minor because
I'd put resistance.
also resistance.
Yeah.
What do you base it off again?
What do you mean?
Like when he seen it in the trade. What was it?
Was it this one? It was a breakout and wick
No, no,
entry.
no, 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 no. Not that. Like the resistance.
Oh, I based it off this level on the 5. All these wicks here, this rejection, these wicks.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool.
Elvis,
Yeah.
can you explain when I was on the live? I didn't really understand why Don took the trade. I just, it was like after the news, it was like a big push out to the upside.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
why did he
So,
enter?
so basically, oh, look at this. You're getting this daily bottom wick, right? It might not wait for us and continue down, but cool. Your hourly, I think. Let's try to look on a smaller time frame to see what actually happened, right? But you closed the hourly closed like up here, right? Towards these areas, right? It closed at this candle here. Your next candle had no top wick. Oh, sorry, it had like a very small top wick. Came down. We were expecting to get into buys towards 1997, mirroring this, right? This liquidity to go up. This being a relatively strong level, we're expecting some level of push, right? You closed above 1997. You closed above 1997, so I'm expecting it to drive towards 2007 in terms of, I think it was a 4-hour closure as well. Yeah, so the 4-hour broke above here, all right? Your hourly, I think, was generally bullish. You broke above this. Once you break above this, right, you're expecting it to tap again 2002. You had a wick that broke all of this. 30-minute, you also respected this, but generally you broke above this level, so we're expecting everything was relatively bullish, right? Your hourly also was the ideal scenario. Came down first, no, not much of a top wick. So once you tapped into these areas, I think they got in literally here, but we were looking for positions towards 1997, 1996 anyways. Just expecting the hourly to flip and continue driving up, because at any given point, right, what you could have saw, let me just annotate real quick. What you could have saw was this candle, bottom wick, right? Could have saw something like this. So that's what we were expecting, right? Because once you break above, you could have tapped 2007, right? And maybe because we tapped into 1970 already, right? On the daily, so these sorts of areas, right? Because we tapped here, and then you start getting this push. I was expecting us to be able to tap 2007. So that's what we were expecting. And then we moved stops to break even once it tapped, I think, here. So
But did you enter at 1997?
I entered at, well, this spike down was so fast. Yeah, look at this. It was like a 1 minute fake out almost. Like it came down so quickly. I actually got entered like around here, 1996 here. They got entry here.
Like everything closed above, but then the bottom wick started forming. It went down, and then they don't did just did like a week entry.
Yeah, this was like your most ideal wick entry, a breakout wick entry to go up. Like, because
Cool.
if you see a breakout like this, right, and your next candle comes down, breaks these lows, or like comes down really far and breaks a lot of lows on like the lower time frame, you're expecting it once it has no top wick, right? If it flips, it's gonna go up, right? But then once you break enough lows, we're expecting, okay, this is a higher time frame candle, right? When was the last time you saw a 4 hour candle which doesn't have a top wick? It's quite rare. So we're expecting this to flip up, and we're also generally very bullish. So taking a wick entry here is good to go up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
The thing with this though was that there was no bottom wick before the drive up to like 2004.
Yeah.
Like
The only thing was this. Yeah.
Thing. So as I said, I had a setup for it to hit like 207 and drive down to. I was going to drop TP like 1992, I think.
Yeah. Fair. I mean, it's fair enough. Did you get the position once you tap 1992?
No, I think I'd gone out. I was not
Yeah,
looking
it's
at
alright.
that point.
But
then,
yeah.
And then the trade before this is what the massive drawdown trade.
Yeah.
I looked at that and I went, I hate this trade. Like as he was explaining it, I was like, I'm not even sure I agree with this, because I thought that was what happened was a liquidity grab to go up.
Yeah.
And he was like with sells, and I was like, because I was going to take a buy, and then he was on about that. It's like, oh, okay, I'll listen. And then he took sells, and so I took a sell and then went, and then got out when it went through the 1982 line, I think.
Yeah.
With the breakout closure.
Yeah.
So it's like this, yeah.
So that's why I didn't get into any sells, because like based on the analysis that we did on this stream, we were expecting 1970 to get tapped, and then at that point I'm fully bullish, right? I'm not expecting any bearish movement after this because I'm expecting, generally higher time frames. You tap 1970, I am bullish for us to go up all the way to 2030. So I didn't get into any sells there, but looking short term, right? After you tapped here, I was looking for sells, I think towards these sorts of areas, and I took some sells to come down to here.
Yeah, and sells from like 1992.
Yeah. Cool, guys. I'm probably gonna end it around here, but yeah, members only stream tomorrow, so join up, guys. Obviously, ask me more questions there. Come with some questions if you want. If not, we'll do the analysis and then you guys can ask away. But yeah, thank you very much for joining the streams. I guess I'll see you guys tomorrow. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
And then for those on the live, sorry I was a little bit late today, but thank you very much for joining up. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the background, right? So development of more things that are going to be DVS publicly available things in the future, but at the moment, because I'm the only one developing it, I'll probably release it to my members first. So if you are looking to join up, I think Nightbot has sent a membership thing. So either hit me up on Instagram, which the link is there. So Romark, I think. So if you scroll up a little bit, or if you just DM EvolutionDVS on Instagram, I'll be able to reply. But yeah, you guys can ask about membership there or whatever. So cool. Alright, I'm gonna end here. It's nearly midnight. But thanks for joining up, and I'll see you guys on Tuesday, because tomorrow is members only stream. But yeah, I'll see you guys on Tuesday. Peace.